Commission, we have not received a written decision in the case yet, but the verbal decision that was rendered at the conclusion of the appeal hearing caused some concerns and confusion over what exactly the commission members were ordering, specifically the issue of back pay. And taking that into consideration, in looking at the record of this matter, that the appellant was terminated on September 27th, 2019. His appeal was filed with the commission on October 1st, 2019. On October 31st, 2019, the appellant filed a motion to stay this appeal pending the outcome of the criminal proceedings against him, which motion was granted on November 13th, 2019. And this matter sat and wasn't heard by the commission at the appellant's request until May 13th. The appellant requested on March 21st that the stay be lifted and that the commission hear his appeal. So the award of back pay in this case would be significant, and that is due to the delay in hearing the case at appellant's request. The department just believes that while the matter was stayed at his request, back pay should not be awarded during that time.
So is the request of the department only relative to the time period of the requested stay? Because there was some time before and some time after.
Well, of course, the department doesn't docket the matters for hearing. We don't control that, but I would, at the time the request was made to stay, I certainly think during that period of time, from the time the request to stay the matter until the request was made that, the matter be moved forward, that it wouldn't be fair to penalize the department with back pay.
Any other commissioners have questions for the department before Mr. Perkins?
Just so that I'm clear, ma'am, so what you're asking is, when he requested the stay, that's the time period that you are requesting, that the state police is requesting that you will not be ordered to pay him for that. But the time prior to that and the time after that, is the department okay with that?
Well, as I said again,
I think the colonel was trying to. The colonel stood up. Michelle,
I don't think there was any delay, intentional delay in that case. So if that's the period of time that it took the commission to hear the case, and back pay accrued during that time, I think it would be appropriate.
Okay.
Commissioner Davis, did you want to add anything else?
Colonel.
What the? I keep demoting the man. What's wrong with me?
You know something I don't know something.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Colonel. I don't know why I got it stuck in my head today.
So, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Greer, so we're talking about October 31st, 2019 through March 12th, 2021. Just want to be clear on the dates.
Yes, that's the date that the motion to
File the motion to stay
was
as appeal.
filed.
Right.
And then March 12th, 2021 was the day that he requested the stay.
So that's the time period that the administration is talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Trooper Perkins.
Yes, sir. Sheldon Perkins. For one, thank you for giving me this opportunity. In terms of the motion, what I do want to say is that in terms of the dates of when the motion was filed for the appeal, at that point in time, I still had not had any communication back from the 19th Judicial District Court as to a court date of anything in terms of the criminal matter. At the time, I had counsel, and the counsel filed that motion, and then it was when, as I was made to understand, that the commission could not hear my appeal while I had pending criminal matters. So that was the reason to file the motion to have a stay. And I'm obviously I'm not an attorney, and I don't know all those legal terms. But the reason to file that motion to have a stay for my appeal because the commission could not hear my appeal during that time because I had pending criminal matters. Secondly, not to rehash everything that was covered during the appeal back on May 13th, but one thing that I think I did cover, and it was certainly stipulated in the stipulations with the department, but I actually completed my PTI in a 6-month period. However, because I was in the pretrial intervention program And I had asked, as soon as I was completed, I had asked if I could be released so I could get my appeal scheduled as quick as possible. However, that was not allowed. You know, the standard process for that is when you're in PTI, and for you to be in that for a 1 year period. I entered PTI on March 10th of 2020, and I was effectively released from PTI on March 10th of 2021. And upon being released and had completed everything that I needed to complete, I subsequently, filed for the motion to have the stay lifted so I could have the appeal heard. Finally, what I want to indicate is that, as I walked away from the appeal on May 13th, and certainly having respected the decision of the commission of the reinstatement from lieutenant to sergeant and the 720-hour suspension, and in light of the department's motion, to do anything differently would be to go against what that decision was. So that would mean if that's not going to happen based off of that decision, then the suspension really is going to go beyond a 720-hour suspension. If all that time that you're talking about from the appeal, from the motion, is not granted. So I do want to note that. And just the other thing I would note is that, for whatever reasons, and maybe no one here knows of why that was, but there were some forces against me in terms of going into PTI. My unfortunate incident happened August 24th of 2019. I was not allowed to go into the pretrial intervention program until 6 months later. So for 6 months, I had that hanging over my head in terms of, and that was out of my control. So there were certain things that were out of my control, but again, I think in light of the commission's decision for the reinstatement and the suspension of 720 hours, to do anything differently based off of this motion, as I understand it, would be going against what that decision was on that day of May 13th of 2021. And thank you for your time.
All right, any questions for Trooper Perkins? Okay. Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session, although we won't necessarily start it at this time. We'll see which other matters we want to go into executive session on. Do we have a motion?
I would say move.
Second.
Go into executive session.
So moved and seconded that later in our meeting we'll go into executive session on this matter, along with other items that we may have executive session on as well. So we have motion and a second. Any discussion? Take a roll call, please.
Brian Crawford,
Yes.
Leonard Knapp,
Yes.
Robert Muir,
Yes.
Sabrina Richardson,
Yes.
and Jared Brickey.
Yes.
Of a motion to clarify an argument on the final decision of the commission in the matter of Sheldon Perkins, Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Office of State Police, docket number 9224. Do we have any motions relative to that matter?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Crawford.
in accordance with LSPC rules, for the following motion that Mr. Perkins' back pay and benefits be denied for the time period beginning on October 31st, 2019 through March 12th, 2021, and that the 720 hours of suspension without pay run concurrent with a time period beginning on October 31st, 2019, and that any back pay to which he is otherwise entitled to be subject to an offset in favor of all wages earned during the period back pay is allowed under this opinion, with legal interest on the difference. No attorney's fees be awarded.
I would second that.
Okay, do you have any discussion of that motion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just abstain.
And Commissioner, note that Commissioner Meir has abstained. The